During in vitro synthesis of DNA, a researcher used 2-3-dideoxycytidine triphosphate as a raw nucleotide in place of 2-deoxycytidine. Study the following statements and select the correct statement. Now, dideoxyribose lacks oxygen on the second and third position. Now, if you look at the normal sugar or normal ribose, this is carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3, carbon 4, and carbon 5. So, on the second position of carbon, there is absence of oxygen. So, this sugar is called deoxyribose. Whereas a normal sugar will have, a ribose sugar will have oxygen on both second and third position. Now in this case, a researcher has used dideoxyribose. Dideoxy meaning that on the second carbon there is no oxygen and the third carbon there is no oxygen. So it is second and third position absence of oxygen, dideoxy. So the first statement that dideoxyribose lacks oxygen on the second and third position, it is the correct statement. 3-OH is required for the formation of phosphodiester bond. So if you look at this position, third position, that oxygen is required on the third position for the formation of a phosphodiester bond. See, if we look at the polymerization process where there is phosphodiester bond, this is a sugar, this is a nitrogenous base, and this is a phosphate. So we have on the third position we have OH, and this is the phosphate with OH. So third position OH is very much required so that it can interact with the OH of phosphate group, so that elimination of water can take place. So the second statement is correct. Polymerization of DNA will not continue in presence of 2-3-dideoxycytidine triphosphate. So as I told you, on the third position OH is required so that it can react with OH of a phosphate group in this case. So if a dideoxy sugar is present, that OH will not be present here, so that a phosphodiester bond may not be formed or will not be formed if there is absence of O on the third position. So third statement is correct. Phosphodiester formation in DNA involves two hydroxyl groups. It requires hydroxyl group on sugar, that is 3-sugar OH group, and on the phosphate group it has OH. So there is a loss of water between OH of sugar and OH of the phosphate group, and with the elimination of water there is a formation of a bond, and that is called diester bond. So this statement is also a correct statement. So we can say, by analyzing these statements, we can say that option D, that is statement 1, 2, 3 as well as 4 are the correct statements.